Hi guys, this is Miss Brittany, College and Career Readiness Specialist, and I wanted to join you today to go over your project-based learning presentation that you will be expected to do in the next couple of weeks. And first, I wanted to explain why we are doing this. Okay, we are doing this to have you demonstrate that you have done your research and you know what your next steps are and you have a plan for when you get out of high school. We know that a lot of times people have all these ideas, and we all have been there. We have all these plans and things that we think we're going to do. But if we don't have detailed steps as goals to get there, there isn't always, we're not giving ourselves the best chance for success. Let's put it that way. So we want to make sure that you've had a chance to do your research, look into what you're really trying to do, and get there. Okay. So that's what our goal is. So you'll see here on the screen that I have Miss Amanda's example that she has graciously prepared for us. So your first one is going to be your cover slide. Your presentation needs to start with some sort of a cover. This is where you would introduce yourself when you get into the panel. Hi, my name is, and then that's when you start into your presentation, okay? So for the first slide, you can talk about what your inspiration is. What is making you do this? What's making you want to graduate from high school in the first place? Because we all have to have some reason, right? What is your why? What's making you, or who is making you do this? What makes you want to be here and move on to something better? So your first slide can be something about your inspiration, who you're doing this for, why you're doing it, what makes you get up in the morning and come here, okay? Your next one can be I should say the rest of them basically are all about your goals, okay? What are you planning to do? So in this example, the first slide talks about your goals kind of in general. You know, these are the goals that I have, kind of the way that we think in a general sense. These are the goals that I have for my life. These are not the ones that necessarily have any kind of details to show how you're going to get there, but they say, these are the things that I am thinking about wanting to be my goals. Okay, you don't have to have all of these. You don't have to have as many. They're going to look different for every person. So please don't feel like you have to copy these, or it has to include education, or it has to include getting an apartment, or it has to include starting a family. Those are just examples. Okay, so everybody's will look different. The next slide in this example goes towards educational goals. So Miss Amanda's educational goals in this case are eventually working towards her motorsports technology technical certificate while working part-time at Arnie's. Okay, that's her kind of her goal, is graduating with that technical certificate. But if you think about what has to happen before you get there, there's a lot of little steps, and we want to see the details to show that you have looked at what you need to do. So if that's applying for FAFSA, applying to the school, meeting with your advisor, when you're going to start, maybe this also involves, in order to do this, you need to move closer to something or the school, or you need to do other things that are going to get you there. Whatever you need to do to get there, we need you to be aware of those steps. Okay, so this is where you're going to talk about where you want to get if you're planning on taking any kind of training. This doesn't have to be college. It could be a training program. It could be a month-long CNA program. It could be an apprenticeship somewhere. What steps are you taking to reach your next educational goal? Now, if you don't have an educational goal because you plan to work, totally fine. Feel free on this one to put what you still have to do to reach graduation at the Excel Center. That's an educational goal. You still haven't reached that one yet. So maybe that's where you focus your energies, is on what you still need to do to graduate from the Excel Center. Okay. Next example on this sample is career goals. So you have your educational goals, which definitely intertwine with your career goals, right? If you're planning on doing some sort of training. I would also like to add as a sidebar that you may think, oh, I don't like school, college is not for me. That's totally fine. It's good to know yourself, but don't assume that you just don't want to go to any kind of schooling, because if you're going to school for something that you love, it doesn't necessarily feel like schooling as much. So don't completely rule that out just because maybe you're not a college person, or you think that you're not wanting to go to college. It is totally different once you get to something that you really enjoy. So back to this slide with your career goals. My advice is usually to kind of think about what you're eventually wanting to do and where you're wanting to be, and work your way back on the things that need to be happening in order to get that goal. So do you need to go through training? Do you need to apply for a certain apprenticeship? Do you need to move somewhere? You know, what is it that you need to do to get to that goal? And tell us what those steps are. We love to see dates in terms of, you know, like in this example, I'm going to do this by the fall of 2022, or I'm going to apply for FAFSA. Like on the previous screen, as an example, I have to apply by April 15th, or for this career, I can't apply maybe until I'm 18 or until I'm 21. So in the meantime, I'm going to do this and this and this in order to continue to reach that goal. Okay. Small steps will help you reach your goal better than having this large idea in your head and thinking, I don't even know where to start. That's what keeps us from doing anything at all. Okay. Think about cleaning your room. Sometimes it's so overwhelming, you don't even know where to start. Okay. Set small goals. Maybe clean up one area of your room first, and then before you know it, you're done. Okay. Same kind of thing. All right. Your next slide could be, and I keep saying could be because how you voice your goals is up to you. It could be my educational goals, my career goals, and then my personal goals. It could be my goals in the next year, my goals in the next 2 years, my goals in the next 3. However you think about it logically and what makes sense for you, that's what you can do. Okay, just show us what you're planning to do, however that looks for you, because everyone is different. Okay, so for the personal goals, if you want to do it this way, a couple of them might be moving to an apartment, okay, by this time, renting an apartment for a few years while saving, or save $300 a month to buy a car by June 2021. It just depends on what it is you want to do and how much you, so for example, if you want to buy that car, okay, I'm going to buy this car for this amount of money, and this is how much it is per month that I have to save in order to reach that goal, okay? So really start thinking about what your true goals are and break it down into smaller steps to decide where you need to be and when and how you're going to get there. Okay, so that could, personal goals are going to look very different. So it doesn't have to be about moving, renting, saving, a car, in this case, like exercising, consistent sleep schedule. These were just some examples that we came up with for personal goals, and things that you're going to want to do, you know, are going to be completely personal to you, and no one else can tell you what those are. Okay. And then the last one is your conclusion slide. Okay, this conclusion slide is going to include a thank you of some sort. Okay, something that says, my presentation is over. I will tell you that what has happened in the past is that students will be doing their presentation. They get to the slide before this, what this last one should be, and they kind of look at the screen and think, oh, and then they just say, okay, well, that's all. So let's plan for the end of that presentation by putting this conclusion slide on here. It can say whatever you want it to say. It can say, you know, whatever the slide says, you don't have to read the slide, right? That's part of our goal is we're not reading our slides, we're telling the story. So the ending can just be, that's all for today. Thank you very much for attending my presentation, or thank you for your help, or thank you for your support. Something to indicate that the presentation is over, okay? As Miss Amanda has said, you do need to have an 80% or above. If you do not reach the 80%, technically that would mean that you do not graduate. However, that is something that we can work around, and we can have you present again by giving you back a little bit of feedback. That is why you're going to be asked to send your presentation to me and to Miss Amanda, so that we have time to give you feedback to help it get to where it needs to go. Okay, thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you in class soon.